and welcome to today's webinar on how to preserve your digital assets with a stronger business data protection solution. This webinar is brought to you by Express Computer in partnership with Synology. I am Nivedan Prakash, Senior Assistant Editor with Express Computer and CRN India. So in today's webinar, we will discuss and understand how small and medium enterprises can strengthen business data protection with the help of Synology backup solutions. So today's speakers from Synology are Catherine Lai, who is Product Marketing at Synology Inc. And along with her, we have Russell Chen, who is Sales Manager, South Asia at Synology. Both Catherine and Russell will share today the best practices for protecting data and how Synology as your partner offers comprehensive data protection under different scenarios. And the presentations will be followed by detailed demonstrations on backup settings via the Synology backup appliances. So before I hand over to Catherine and Russell, let me first take you through the house rules. So this is an audio and video webinar being broadcasted live and will be available as on demand. We will have a round of Q&A, questions and answers at the end of the webinar. However, you can send in your questions anytime during the proceedings using the Q&A text box. If you face any technical issues, please try to refresh your browser or else reach out to our team using the same questions and text box. If any of your questions are unanswered, we will connect with you over email to answer the same. One important announcement, there's a survey form to be filled. You can probably will share the screen where you'll see a QR code and there will be a link as well, which will be highlighted in the chat box. I request all of you to kind of come forth and participate in that survey, because the lucky winner stands a chance to win a Synology unit called DS420 Plus. And I'm very excited to share that this is worth approx 48,000 rupees. So I encourage each and every one of you to participate in this survey and stand a chance to win this exciting gift from Synology. And also, we will, towards the end, after the sessions are over, we'll share the slides and video recordings with all the attendees after the event. So that's it from my side now. I'll now hand over to Catherine. So over to you, Catherine.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining with us at today's webinar. My name is Catherine, and I will be your speaker for today's presentation. In this webinar, I'll be sharing on how businesses can strengthen their data protection with comprehensive solution. Today's webinar will be divided into 3 sessions. First, we will see the current challenges that has been affecting businesses. Then, we'll walk through how implementing Synology backup strategy in different business scenarios. And lastly, we will show you some of the advantage of why businesses should choose Synology. Ready? Let's get started. When talking about ransomware, evidence shows that the attacks are being more selective nowadays. As seen from the statistic in 2021 alone, 82% of the targeted ransomware victims were companies with less than 1,000 employees. Whereas a report also showed that 60% of small and medium companies go out of business within 6 months after falling victim into a cyber attack. It is no longer a question of what if, but when these companies will be targeted. The threat doesn't stop there. After the ransomware attack, it will follow much more bigger issue. News has reported that 75% of small and medium businesses are only able to survive for a week after the attacks. And within just one attack, most of them go out of business. Many more surveys also proven that businesses are not confident with their data protection. Aside from ransomware attacks, there are numerous other factors that could disrupt the business. According to studies by Forbes, data loss from failed backup is one of the main causes. In response to the issue mentioned, backup plays an important role, but the reality is many businesses still fail to build an ideal backup solution. Let's take a look at the 3 common reasons why most businesses find it hard to implement complete backup in their company. Small and medium companies usually have a limited budget resource. They may see backup as both time-consuming and expensive with the upfront hardware cost, recurring software license fee, as well as the need for integration between separate vendors and the maintenance fee. Building a solid backup also takes much effort. While most SMBs don't have a dedicated IT team to do this important task. Meanwhile, with the post-pandemic situation, the increase in hybrid working adoption also leads to a scattered data in many endpoints. So, is there an ideal solution to tackle these problems? Introducing Synology, the perfect backup companion for your business. So exactly how this solution can be the best answer to these problems. First of all, Synology is completely free of license fee. Simply said, you can purchase Synology hardware and you can use the backup software for free without any additional cost. Next, most small and medium businesses have limited IT resource to handle these backup tasks. This is where Synology solution could help with the intuitive interface that comes with a low learning curve, making it easy to be deployed and maintained. And finally, Synology is the one-stop solution for all your backup. With Synology, you can centralize all your backup from PC, server, virtual machine, and even your SaaS. As we all know, every IT infrastructure differs from one company to another. From the most common deployment, which usually consists of endpoints such as PC and server, to more advanced deployment like virtual machine as well as SaaS. Now we'll walk through how Synology offers comprehensive data protection under different scenarios. Let's start with the first one, the most frequently needed backup, endpoints. To fully protect endpoints, there are 2 platforms that need to be backed up, PC and server. Usually when talking about PC backup, we will think of 2 things to be backed up, folders, files, and the entire PC. While for server, some company might have either physical server or file server to be backed up. We will start from the first phase of backup, which is file level backup using Synology Drive. With variety PC operating system in the market, there might be different usage for every company. Also, with the bring your own device trend, aside from companies' provided PC, employees might also use their own device to work. This results in many different PCs to protect. In this case, Synology Drive could be the best answer as it supports different platforms. Companies can use Synology Drive to protect their file folder with real-time or scheduled backup. To better demonstrate how easy it is to back up your important files, I would like to welcome my colleague, Russell, who will show you all the hands-on demo throughout today's webinar.
Hi everyone, my name is Russell, and I will be your guide throughout today's demo sessions. In today's demo, we will first start with how to do a file level backup with Synology Drive. File level backup is important when your team needed to keep their documents, project, spreadsheet, and working data safe on their PCs. It is a reliable technology that can be quite flexible and pretty simple to configure. Today, I'm going to show you an example to back up our sales team folder from my office computer to Synology NAS in just a few steps. Now we are at my desktop, and my team's data is located in the Q2 sales team folder. To back up this folder, we need the help from a Synology PC client. You can also see that we have downloaded the Drive desktop client, which you can easily find from the Synology website. Go to DSM page. Today, we are working with the model DS920 Plus. Open the main menu. You can see we have already installed the Drive application. First, we need to go to Control Panel to create a shared folder as a backup destination to backup our Q2 sales team folder on my PC. We have created the backup destination, which named Q2 sales team. Back to the desktop, open a Drive client. Connect to a NAS, you can log in with IP address or with Quick Connect if you are on external network. Enter your credentials and connect. Here, you can see there are two different tasks available. Sync tasks allow automatic syncing between your PC and the server, whereas backup tasks allow you to backup from the endpoint to the server. Now we will demonstrate how to do a backup task. Select the backup source from the PC. Here you can select one or more folders. I will go with the Q2 sales team. Next, you need to choose a backup destination on the NAS. Here was the select share folder we created previously. Next, there are three different backup options. You can do continuous backup for real-time syncing, or you can go with manual backup to trigger it only when you click it. Or you can go with scheduled backup to backup on specific days and times. You can base on your internet bandwidth or the amount of your data to decide which option to go with. Now, we will go for continuous backup for seamless protection. Confirm the details and click Done. Now, the setting on my desktop is finished. You can see the backup task is up running and soon completed as we only have a few files in the folder. Now, return to the server to confirm the task. Back at the Drive portal under Computer Backup, you can see the folder that we just set up is here. Any changes we make to the folder will automatically be synced to the NAS. As an admin, you can further configure more detailed settings under the admin console. For example, like how many historical backup versions you want to keep. The multi-versioning is what helps you to restore the data under ransomware attacks or human errors. So, this is how you can do a file-level backup task with Synology Drive. Simple as that.
Thank you, Russell. So after backing up your files with a file-level backup Synology Drive, the next thing a company also needs to protect is the entire PC and server by utilizing the bare metal backup with Active Backup for Business. Active Backup for Business, or ABB in short, is a centralized backup application to back up a variety of platforms to the NAS. ABB also provides flexible backup options. From backup source, you can choose to do either a full system backup or only a specific one. Now we will show you how to do a bare metal backup protection for your endpoints such as PC, server, with Active Backup for Business.
Now, I would like to show you how to do a bare metal backup protection with Active Backup for Business, or ABB in short. Bare metal protection is a process backing up the entire PC or server, including the operating system, software application, and data settings. It offers an efficient way to protect the whole system and recover after an unexpected data loss event. For example, when your office conquered a ransomware, you are able to get your PC recovered as soon as possible. In this part, I would like to demo doing a bare metal backup for my PC. Go to the DSM menu and download the ABB application. In the ABB portal, you can see this support backup source from PC, physical server, file server, to SaaS or virtual machine. Administrators can manage various backup tasks, all from the centralized portal. Now, we want to backup this PC. Click PC and Add Device. The instruction will then guide you to download the desktop client, which runs on your PC for the backup task. Back at my desktop, we already downloaded the client. Open the client and enter the IP address and credentials to connect to the server. Click OK. Now the settings on the desktop is done. Return to the ABB portal, and now you can see my PC is listed here. And we can further configure the backup settings for the task. When logging with the admin account, you can create a template to deploy backup tasks to selected user or groups. Once they log into ABB agent, all the pre-configured template will be automatically applied. Here, I will create a customized setting for the backup task. Click Edit. You can choose to backup the entire device, including the external hard drive, or the entire system volume down to a specific customized volume. In data transfer, you can choose to enable compression, encryption, or even set bandwidth limit during the backup process. In computer power setting, you can choose from 3 different options for Windows PC or physical server task. Next, in the backup schedule, you can select from manual backup, which only triggers the backup process when you click it. Or you can perform scheduled backup by different days and timing. You can even choose to perform the backup by different events. In retention policy, you can enable it and customize on how many historical backup versions you want to keep and for how long. Once complete the backup setting, click Backup. The task will then start running in the background. Under the task list, you can see that we have already backed up several PCs for our team's members. In this portal, IT admins are able to set up and monitor all backup tasks from a centralized dashboard. We have total 9 PC backup, and the total storage was 1.2 terabyte. And the current storage comes to nearly 636 gigabytes with global deduplication. And it has helped us save more than 50% of original storage space. The 600 gigabyte storage space equals to a public cloud annual subscription fee of $60 US. 60 bucks may seem like a small number, but with an annual recurring fee like this, you can save lots of costs in the long term, not to mention bigger scales or larger deployment when your business grows in the future.
Some companies may suggest that their usage and needs are fairly simple. They just need to keep their endpoints protected as they don't have a fixed office or have very little resource to maintain a hardware device. For companies who do not consider investing in NAS device anytime soon, we introduce C2 Backup, a hardware-free backup solution by Synology C2. C2 Backup for Business offers backup for unlimited Windows device through a cloud-based solution, with the support for macOS coming soon. Now, we would like to show you a quick demonstration on how to back up your Windows device effortlessly with C2 Backup for Business.
Now, we will show you how C2 Backups protect endpoint devices with only a few simple steps. This cloud service lets you back up your entire endpoint effortlessly, including system configuration and user settings. You also get file versioning, ability to back up external drives, customizable retention policy, and schedulable backups. Let's see how it works. In the C2 Backup for Business portal, you can see that C2 Backup offers protection for endpoints like personal computer and physical server. Also, cloud services like Microsoft Exchange. Here, we will show how to back up a Windows PC. Under Personal Computer, click on New Device. Download a desktop client on your PC. Back to the desktop and open the client. Enter your Synology account credentials to connect to the server. Here, you can see a clean view on which data center your data is stored and what subscription plan you have. Click Done, and the settings on your PC is completed. You can see that the status is now preparing for backup. To configure the backup settings, we need to return to C2 Backup web portal. Back at the C2 portal, you can see that my PC is already listed here. Go to Backup Policy to customize the backup settings. Click on Create and name your settings. Select the device type between computer and physical server. In the backup scope, you can choose to backup the entire device, including external drives, or the whole system volumes. You can also choose a specific volume to backup. Continue the setting with backup schedule from manual backup, daily, or custom, setting by specific time and frequency. With event trigger, it leverages non-active period by backing up PCs during startup and screen lock or after the user sign out to ensure network efficiency remain unaffected. Next, continue with the retention policy settings, which allow you to meet privacy and data protection regulations by customizing how many historical copies to keep and for how long. Apply the setting to the PC we just backed up. You can see, with a few simple settings, your Windows PC is now under protection with no extra maintenance needed. C2 Backup is an efficient backup solution that saves space and bandwidth by backing up only modified data with incremental backup. It also offers granular recovery that helps resume services as quickly as possible by restoring entire devices or single files through bare metal and file level recovery. C2 Backup is especially ideal for companies that do not have a fixed office or the resource to maintain an additional hardware.
Now, let's move on to the second backup scenario for companies who have virtual machines to be protected. In order to provide a full protection for companies' virtual environments, Synology also provides an agentless backup for mainstream VM operating system, VMware, and Microsoft Hyper-V. With the all-in-one backup software Active Backup for Business, whether your infrastructure consists of VMware vSphere 5 to 7.0 and FreeXC or Microsoft Hyper-V 2016 and 2019, everything will be safeguarded. Now, let's take a look at the step-by-step demo of how simple it is to back up virtual machine with Synology.
We have already learned how to do bare metal backup and file level backup. Now, let me show you how to backup and restore virtual machines with Active Backup for Business. ABB allows you to manage VMware vSphere and Microsoft Hyper-V from the same portal, which is especially useful for business with multi-hypervisor environment. In this demo, I will first show you how to create backup task for Microsoft Hyper-V. To connect to your hypervisor, click Manage Hypervisor, click Add to fill in the host information. For demo purpose, we have already connected one. Under Task List, click Create to launch the backup wizard. Here, you can name the backup task and select the VM you want to backup. Then choose the backup destination for the task from the share folder. Next, configure settings on data compression or encryption. Because the share folder we selected was pre-configured, so we will skip this step. Next, in the wizard, there are more detailed settings. For example, in maximum quantity of concurrent backup device, you can configure the number of concurrent backup devices. This will depend on your RAM capacity. With change block tracking, It enables incremental backup to reduce the transfer data size. Then, configure the service on virtual machine. Next, here we can set out the backup schedule for the task. This is pretty similar as what we did before in the ABB schedule settings. You can choose manual backup to manually trigger the task, or you can run the task unscheduled by specific time and days. Moreover, you can also choose to run the backup task on specific time slots to avoid the server peak hours. Next, customize the retention policy and fill in how many versions you want to keep and for how long. Then, in the privilege setting, you can grant user privilege to ensure the only eligible users have access to browse the backup task and restore the backup files. Privilege settings can be configured during or after the creation of the backup task. Next, confirm the details to apply the settings, and done. Backup your virtual machine with ABB is this easy. In the case of a hot server failure, instant restore allows you to restore the virtual machine directly to minimize the service downtime. Back to text list, you can see the backup task we set up previously. Select the backup you want to restore. Click Restore. In the Restore wizard, select the VM. Next, select the Restore platform. Then, select the restore type. You can choose Instant Restore for a quick restart for a virtual machine with limited I/O throughput and minimize the service downtime, or you can choose Full Virtual Machine Restore with full I/O performance, but this will require more time and system resource. Next, select Restore Mode. Select Restore to the original location if you want to replace the original VM in the production site, or select the Restore to a new location by customizing the destination and settings. Next, confirm the setting and you are done. When a service is done, Instant Restore makes NAS a data store for the hypervisor with a low RTO within a few seconds. At some point, you may need to access certain files on your VM backup, but you don't want to restore the whole VM as you want to minimize the resource consumption. Simply go to ABB portal. Here, you can click Task on the upper right corner. Select the task you want to restore. You can restore the selected folder or file to a designated folder, or simply download them as you prefer. This is how simple it is to utilize Active Backup for Business to protect your virtual machines.
Lastly, the third backup scenario is for a company who depends on software as a service or SaaS as their storage. According to Gartner, the proportion of SaaS imports increased significantly during the pandemic. With the increase in organization adopting ready-to-import SaaS service, we cannot overlook the data security on the SaaS. Most SaaS providers don't provide enough protection for the data stored in the platform, making the data protection completely your own responsibility. Therefore, implementing proper software to back up your SaaS data is just as important as your local data. With Active Backup for Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace, you can fully protect your data in Drive, email, and so on. Now, we will demonstrate how to back up Microsoft 365 into Synology NAS.
Apart from endpoint and device backup, you might wonder if there is a way to protect your company's cloud account and data. To help you protect data in Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace, Synology provides two license-free backup packages: Active Backup for Microsoft 365 and Active Backup for Google Workspace. In this demo, I want to show you how to create backup task for Microsoft 365 account through NAS, where you can manage all your backup tasks even under different tenants from one single dashboard. Go to Package Center and download Active Backup for Microsoft 365 or ABM in short. Into the dashboard, you can get a clean view on how many services under Microsoft 365 are protected, from Drive, Mail, Contacts, to Calendar. Here, you can also see a detailed log sheet for any change activity. Now, we would like to create a backup task. Go to Task List, click Create. Here, you can either create a new backup task or relink to an existing one. We will create a new task now. Next, we need to fill in the Microsoft account credentials to connect to the public cloud. After connected, here, you need to choose a shared folder on the server as your backup destination. Click on Edit to choose which type of data you'd like to backup for each user. After you are done, click OK. Enable ABM Portal. This feature allows the user to restore or export backup data by themselves without troubling the admins. Hit Next. The Auto Discovery feature allows every new account in Microsoft 365 to automatically backup and minimizing the data loss. Below, in the backup scope, you can also select which type of data is backup when a new user or group joined, so that admin don't need to configure the settings again when a new user is added. Click Next. Here, you can set up the backup schedule and retention policy. This part is very similar to our previous settings from other applications. Finally, confirm all the setting details, and let's run the backup now. Here in the overview, you can get a clean view of how many services are protected, and this is how easy it is to set up a backup task for your Microsoft 365 account. In case the data in your Microsoft 365 is lost, you can also easily get it back by using the recovery feature. Simply go to ABM Portal. In the portal, if users log in with their credentials, they can only see their backup files under each services. But when logging as an admin can browse and restore all backup data by changing the few rules. Click the menu icon in the upper right corner. You can see the different types of data that's backup. You can find the specific files by determining its backup point on the timeline, or you can use the advanced search engine. You can search by using different criteria. You can even use keyword search, which allow you to find any files containing the keywords. You can also preview the content before you decide to restore it. Active Backup also supports Google Workspace with the similar setup as easy as we just demonstrated.
Now that we have seen all the demonstration of each scenarios, let's review again of the overall backup process. For every company that has PC, server, virtual machine, and SaaS, they can now centralize all the backup data with Synology. But the real question is, would this be the end of the whole backup process? Is this plan good enough to build a strong wall of defense against ransomware or human error? Unfortunately, the answer is no. You will only be completing the first phase in the backup chain. There is much more to a well-structured and complete data protection. So what makes it a great backup strategy? While a local backup is the first step to protecting your data, having a copy of your backup data off-site is generally the most difficult and costly step. But it is extremely important because local backup do not protect your data against fire or natural disaster. It has been suggested that businesses should comply to the golden rule of 3-2-1 backup. The 3-2-1 backup strategy is recognized as the best practice for business. It involves of having at least 3 copies of your data. Then you need to keep these copies on 2 different mediums and store at least 1 copy off-site. To give you a better illustration of how Synology's solution could help complying to the backup 3-2-1 rule, let's see this overall backup flow. After completing the first phase by backing up data from PC, server, virtual machine, and SaaS to a centralized storage NAS, you will need to add another layer of protection. You can choose either 2 ways to protect your backup. First is by replicating the data on your NAS to another offsite NAS with snapshot replication, a perfect solution that provides schedulable and near real-time protection to keep your data safe and available immediately during a disaster. The other way is to back up your NAS to another location, such as remote server or cloud. Therefore, if any disaster happened on your production site, you can still get your data and configuration back, giving you and your business an extra safety layer. Now, let's see a real demo on how to protect your backup on NAS with Hyper Backup and Snapshot Replication.
To comply to backup 3-2-1 rule with Synology, you can go with either Hyper Backup or Snapshot Replication. First, let me show you how to back up your NAS to another remote destination with Hyper Backup. Once install the package, you will get into the backup wizard. Now we will select the backup destination. You can see it supports many backup destinations from another NAS device, file server, to the cloud services. In this demo, we will show you how to back up Synology's cloud platform, C2 storage. We have previously logged into our Synology account, so it directs straight to the C2 portal. Otherwise, you will need to fill in the account credentials first. Follow the instruction and click Next, allow permission. Next, back to NAS to configure settings. Here is where you select the backup source. You can decide which folder to back up, or you can simply select the entire LAN depending on the storage capacity. In our case, I will go with the Q2 sales team folder. Next, you can even back up the configuration of the install package to the destination. Then, configure more detailed settings. The notification and detail log feature are pretty straightforward, and you can set up backup schedule by specific days and time. Click Done, Backup Now, and the backup task is completed. Return to the C2 storage portal. You can see the backup task has been created. Now your NAS is safely backed up in the Synology C2 storage. Next, I want to demonstrate how to create block level protection with snapshot replication. Snapshot replication helps avoid human error with snapshot and replication technology as a disaster recovery countermeasure. Any accidental data deletion or ransomware attack, administrator can switch service to the replicated server when the primary server fails. To use the snapshot replication package, please remember to have your NAS file system set as BTRFS. Now, go to Snapshot Replication. In the dashboard, you can have an overview of the task. Here are some tasks that we did previously. First, I will show how to create a snapshot. Here are the list of share folders in the server. Now, I would like to schedule protection for our Q2 sales team share folder. Click Setting. Under Schedule, you can customize the backup time and frequency. We will create a daily snapshot for frequency up to 5 minutes. Under Retention, you can customize how many backup versions you want to keep and for how long. For historical versions, you can keep up to 1024 versions. Click OK, and you are done. You can also create an instant snapshot manually by clicking Take a Snapshot. You can then type in the name of the task. In the lock checkbox, this feature allows you to determine whether the snapshot will ignore the retention settings. By ticking the box, the snapshot will still exist even after the automatic removal is triggered. Say we accidentally delete a file in the folder and we are eager to get it back. Return to snapshot replication, go to Recovery, select the folder, and click Recover. Based on a timeline, you can find the version before the file has been deleted. Click Action and Restore. Then the folder will restore back to the time before the accident. In today's demo, you can select important data we want to protect. The Q2 sales team folder is now safely protected following the backup 3-2-1 rule by having 3 copies of the data, one on my PC, second copy on my DS920 Plus NAS, and the third copy on the remote NAS. Keeping the copies on 2 different mediums, the PC and the NAS, and storing at least 1 copy offsite the remote NAS. Achieving backup 3-2-1 practice may take a great effort. However, with the right approach, such as NAS device that come with handy tools, data protection can be easy as 1, 2, 3. And that's a wrap for today's demo session. I'm Russell. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Russell, for showing us all the demonstrations today. Now we know how to build the best backup plan. Why should we choose Synology? Based on our experience in assisting many SMBs in planning backup solution, we have observed that there are 3 main benefits for growing companies who shifted from traditional backup to Synology solution. Let's see the first one, how Synology solved the compatibility issue between the hardware storage and backup software. When it comes to traditional backup plan, usually most companies will need to choose the corresponding backup software according to the requirements of different endpoints. After that, they would need to check which software are supported by each storage vendor, and this process will usually lead to a complex backup infrastructure. Meanwhile, with a Synology integrated backup plan, there won't be any compatibility issue as it is complete software and hardware integrated. Now, moving on to the next point. Let's see further on how Synology could maximize storage efficiency with ease. Synology backup solution is supported with enterprise-grade technology, which is usually a paid feature from other software vendors. But in Synology, it's completely free. First, we'll introduce the global deduplication technology, and let's see how it works. When we are creating a backup from different platforms and cross-device, each of them will generate duplicated blocks. With this technology, the system will check and remove the duplicated files and store it only once. This can greatly save the storage space on the server. Besides the global deduplication, there is also incremental backup with change block tracking technology to save storage bandwidth during a backup task. Now, let's see the illustration. Let's say in the production side, you have PC and virtual machine or server that will be backed up to Synology NAS using Active Backup for Business. During the first day, the system will run a full backup, and this backup would be the initial version. Let's say that there's a 10 GB of data in total. Then moving on to the next day, there's a newly added file around 1 GB. When you run the backup task on the second day, the system will change the block of data that have been changed, which enable incremental backup to identify changes from the previous backup and store only the difference. In this case, the 1 GB only. Now, on to the last point. we will see how Synology could achieve the complete backup with minimal IT budget. Now, we will go straight to the deployment cost comparing Synology and traditional backup solution. We will use Active Backup as an example here. Say a company has 150 virtual machines with 35 terabytes of data to be backed up. First, you need to pay the hardware cost for the storage server. Then what comes after that? When using a license-based backup software, you will need to purchase the license that is charged annually, as well as the cost for after-sales maintenance. The total expense would then be considered high for a growing company. But what if you deploy Synology solution? With the integration of hardware and software, you will only need to invest the hardware cost. Then, you can utilize the built-in software Active Backup to back up your data, which is 100% free of license fee. This fee also includes any forthcoming software updates and technical support after you purchase. As you can see here, Synology whole backup package price is transparent without any hidden costs compared to other solutions available in the market. Now we just see the price comparison of Synology integrated hardware and software solution. Now, what about the pricing of Synology's cloud-based backup solution, C2 Backup for Business? For companies who don't have the need to invest in hardware as backup storage just yet, C2 Backup is the best choice as it provides cost efficiency compared to other commercial solutions. With other brands, backup data stored in different devices with advanced feature will usually require additional fees, which will result in different pricing methods and separate charges. C2 Backup adopts a pricing method that only calculates the storage space, not based on the number of devices or employees, protecting all your important data on one single platform. Now that we've already walked through the whole benefit of implementing Synology solution, let's recap again the complete and comprehensive data protection flow with Synology. First of all, company can back up their folder and file to Synology NAS with the file level backup, Synology Drive. After that, they could protect their PC, servers, and virtual machine by implementing their bare metal backup using Active Backup for Business. For businesses that use SaaS like Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace, they can also centralize the backup task into Synology NAS. Then what about the companies that don't have a fixed office or resource to invest in a hardware device? You can back up your Windows PC, server, as well as Microsoft 365 data to Synology C2 with C2 Backup for Business. And after backing up all your data, it's time to level up the protection by backing up your backup. Replicate your NAS to an offsite NAS with snapshot replication, or back up your NAS to other locations such as public cloud, another NAS, remote device, or Synology C2 with hyper backup. These days, human error could happen randomly at any time, and anyone could be a victim of ransomware attacks. It is extremely important to be prepared by backing up all your data and having those backup copies available to be recovered during the most critical times, because it is the only way to minimize the risk of data loss for your growing business. Achieving a complete backup strategy is not complicated at all. These well-known companies have proven how they can fully protect their data while maximizing storage capacity without spending a large amount of IT budget by implementing Synology all-in-one backup solution. Now, you know why you should choose Synology? And that's the end for today's webinar. I hope you get a complete picture of how Synology comprehensive backup solution can help strengthen your company's data protection. I'm Catherine, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Catherine and Russell, for an insightful presentation. Now I open the floor to questions. Feel free to ask questions if you have any, as Synology team is here to help. I request everyone to use Q&A text box to send in your questions, and we'll take them one-on-one till the time permits. While I could see good number of questions being already put across and being answered by the Synology team, in the interest of time, I could take few of them, and I'd request Russell to address the few questions that we can pick it up. So there's one first question, Russell, for you. Uh, how many devices can one backup concurrently with active backup for business?
Okay, so the maximum number of concurrent backup devices is 10 when the memory is less than 8 gigabytes. For example, if 7 devices are already being backed up concurrently in a virtual machine backup task, only 3 more devices can be backed up concurrently in other tasks. If you want to back up more devices at one time, you need to upgrade the memories. If your RAM is between 8 to 31 gigabytes, the concurrent devices you can back up are 30. If your RAM is more than 32 gigabytes, the concurrent devices you can back up are 50. So you can also configure your own number for all types of device. You can go to Active Backup for Business settings to configure the number of the concurrent backup devices.
Okay, thank you. The second question, if may I pick, is how do we choose a suitable model for backup?
Yeah, so there are many models in Synology. So knowing the number of PC virtual machine clients can help to decide which Synology NAS model will be the best. So your NAS should have at least 4 gigabyte RAM to back up multiple devices concurrently. First, you can check how many PC or VM clients you need to back up. Is it 50, 150, 300, 500, or more? Second, you need to calculate the storage space you need in 3 to 5 years. You can also use our Synology RAD calculator to plan your hard drive deployment. Last, you need to confirm like whether you want to choose desktop model or recommend model. With the answer above, you can have a better idea of which model you should choose for your backup solution.
Okay. So there's this another interesting question that we have is, what is so special about C2 backup, and why is Synology as a company developed this cloud application?
Yes, so C2 backup is especially useful for companies that don't have a fixed office and the resource to maintain a hardware like NAS. So they can easily deploy a backup copy on the cloud. Also, companies that have a backup copy on NAS already, they still cannot prevent a natural disaster like fire or earthquake. They can easily have an off-site backup on C2 backup to fulfill the backup 3-2-1 rule. C2 backup supports different operating systems and cloud service like Microsoft Exchange. And the price is only calculated based on the storage. So it will be very simple compared to other cloud services like Azure, like AWS.
Okay. So I guess in the interest of time, Russell will be able to answer these three questions. But as I can see in the Q&A box, not many questions have been put across to the Synology team, and they are being answered live as well. So,
Yes.
so I would request that if any of you have any want to have a direct discussion and have further inquiries, please feel free to contact. There's an email ID given in the chat box, which is southasia@synology.com. You can send in your questions and inquiries directly on this email ID, and that will be promptly answered by the Synology team.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, Russell, if you want to say anything. All right. So probably while people are sending in their queries one after the other, I would just once again encourage and request all of you to not to forget to fill out the survey form, which is mentioned at the link has been given there, and there's a QR code as well. So I would request everyone to please fill out this survey form and stand a chance to win this free Synology unit DS420 plus, which again, I'm very excited to say that it's worth almost 48,000 rupees, Indian rupees. So I would encourage everyone to please fill in this survey. So that's all the time we have for today. I once again thank Catherine and Russell for helping the smaller and medium enterprises who attended today's webinar understand how they can gain access to a very cost-effective data protection solution. So thank you once again for participating in today's webinar. Hope you have thoroughly enjoyed today's session. And once again, as I stated in the beginning, we will share the slides and video recordings with all the attendees after the event. So thank you for that. And we look forward to welcoming you all in our next webinar sometime soon. So have a great day ahead. This is Nivedan signing off. Thank you once again.